My co-host is Fred K. Stafford, former United Nations peace officer from Lower Bulgaria, retired emeritus.
Yeah.
Of course, just under the wire he got in. Where were you at?
Up at Sacred Heart Hospital there.
Well, we're once again live from the beautiful downtown L.E. Phillips Public Library. With me, as usual, is my sidekick and host, Fred K. Stafford.
F. Stafford.
That's exactly what I said. And as you can see, we're in the studios of the beautiful downtown L.E. Phillips Library. And as usual, we have Cliff and Chris Economaki, the Siamese twins of engineering, in the back room there, making sure that everything goes smooth and all the doors are locked. We have no harassment from the outside world. Do not adjust your sets, because for the next hour, this is live. There's nothing wrong with your set. And we will release the station at, probably about 2 minutes after 10, so that you can get in on the news on the other channels. But for the next hour, we are here. And of course, we have phone numbers that you can call if you are interested in any of the conversations tonight. And as usual, Fred, the program is brought to you by the wonderful world of Flavin. And our beverage, the flagship of the company, is Flavin Pop.
Flavin Slop.
And it's right here. As usual, you can see Flavin Pop right here. That's the standard bearer of the company, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
And that was brought over, a secret recipe brought over by the Flavin family from the old country.
Yeah.
And of course, our call phone number is 839-5067. And since Fred is running behind again, as usual, we always have something to talk about, Fred.
We do.
And the latest Time magazine, which I get by computer, so I get ahead of the newsstands, Fred. I beat the newsstands by, I don't know, 24, 48 hours. The latest article is by a man named William Henry III, and it's on our old buddy, Louis Farrakhan. It's quite a long article.
Yeah.
I've got a computer printout of here, Fred, many, many pages. But it goes into his background, and it's quite interesting. And you find out by reading, Fred, and by studying, and of course we're in the library, which is just full of books and magazines that you can study and learn all kinds of things, all kinds of history. But by studying, Fred, you find out that there is such a thing as minority racism. Now, I'm not talking about the so-called white majority picking on blacks and Hispanics and Chinese, but I'm talking about the other way around, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
Blacks that are racist that hate whites. And Louis Farrakhan has made a business out of that. Of course, I don't know if you know anything about the guy, but he's about 60 years old. He's very charismatic, Fred.
Is he a black Muslim?
He's a black Muslim, which is separate from the Muslim religion of the Middle East. It's kind of a variation. But they preach a black power type, as the Klan preaches white power, they preach black power.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a very charismatic leader, Fred. I mean, you can almost sit there spellbound and watch him for hours talk, because he's very articulate, very intelligent.
Well, I've watched him.
And he knows what he's talking about on a lot of issues. Once in a while he gets off the track and he goes after the Satan white people, and also the Jewish race. Really gets on them. Of course, the Anti-Defamation League has reams of material about him. And but there's supposed to be a summit right now where they're going to try and get all these various groups together, and so that there'll be peace and harmony. But they have to drop that black power stuff and attacking white people and calling them the Great Satan, and talking about killing whites, and it kind of ties in with the rap music and that stuff. Well, Fred, as usual, we take calls here on the air.
You do?
Yep. And since you've got nothing to talk about, we're going to go to line 1. And then we have one on line 2, too. So, okay, Go ahead, caller. You're the first caller of the night, and you're on the air.
Yeah, I want to know if Flavin is made by GPX.
Who is?
I want to know if you're Flavin Pop.
Yeah.
I want to know if it's made by GPX.
Well, who's GPX?
Grand Prix. And I have another question too.
All right.
I was wondering, after the show, if you had Ed or Fred go backstage, you get all happy with the bottle, don't you? Yeah, I know you're gay. You guys are gay together.
Well, Fred, that guy's been smoking something. I don't know what, but it was hard to understand the last part. Of course, maybe the audience has better hearing than I did because I didn't understand half of it. Anyway, Flavin Pop is made by the Flavin Company. The secret ingredients are secret, Fred. That's why they're secret, because it's secret ingredients. You don't give away your secrets.
No, you don't buy them either.
That's why it's a national bestseller in many countries overseas. And we hope that it will sweep the nation one of these days. And hopefully somebody like
That's a good place for it is on the floor.
Lion and Kugels or somebody's going to pick it up one of these days, Fred, and you're going to be sorry you said that stuff. Mark my words.
Well, I guess we paid the electric light bill.
The Bible says, let there be lights, Fred. And let there be light. Okay. We had a caller waiting on line 2, and hopefully it'll go more smoothly, which is what, is that, I guess just smoothly, Fred, not more smoothly. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air, and before you speak, we want to let you know that this is the suppository of truth, Fred.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Oh, it's Derek Bryan, and I was just wondering about if you have any further views on BTH.
On BGH, okay. I'm glad you called because you know that you can always call this number to get the truth.
This is the cow report, right?
Right. And you're on the cow phone right now.
Cool.
And this is the cow cup right here.
That's pretty nitsy there, sir.
And this is Flavin Pop. Okay, we'll try to answer your question. Thank you very much for calling. All right. BGH is a problem, Fred. Now, some people say it's natural, but a natural substance is not made in a primordial ooze in some factory somewhere. And it's something, a natural substance, you would assume you could eat and it would give you some kind of nutrition and cause you to develop all this extra milk and stuff.
Yeah, you better watch out. You're drinking it, you may give milk too.
Mm-hmm. Well, now they're saying that it causes breast cancer, or it could aggravate breast cancer in women. And it is not a natural substance. It's something that's injected into the cow. And it does cause the formation of pus in the cow's udder when it gets too much of this stuff. And that's why the Flavin Company has developed a pus inhibitor. These little things right here. And you just use those and you pour your drink on those and it removes the pus from any kind of drink or any kind of milk product, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
And that's made solely by the Flavin Company. And if you can't get out to Farmore, where they're located at the old Farmore building, Fred,
That's where they're selling books at 80% off.
if you can't get out there to Farmore, there is a number. And that number is 1-800-FLAVINS. If you'd like to buy your pus inhibitor, you can order it for only $19.95 and allow 16 weeks for delivery.
The company will be out of business by that time, huh?
That's why you have to give us a leeway, Fred. It's called a leeway of 16 weeks. Now, what do you have on BGH, Fred?
Nothing.
Because we always try to defer
Nothing. It's not I don't
to the
think
expert on this.
I'm not the expert on it.
We like whole
Although I spent a summer on a farm, I'm not an expert on it. I tried milking a cow there too.
So that was the first time you were out
And
of
I
New York
flunked.
City? First time you'd ever been out of New York, or what?
No, but it was back around 1929 or 1930.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
So I have been to a farm, and I know what a cow looks like.
Well, Fred, we got to perk up this show here. Let's take a call. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, guys. How are you tonight?
Fine. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. I just thought I'd call in and see either if you or Fred have any comments on the proposed study supposed to be made on the downtown and the new arena.
Uh-huh. Do you have any views on that, caller?
Yeah, I sure do. I don't think anybody wants to hear them, but I'm glad to give them.
You're on the cow phone, and the truth emanates from the cow phone because this is the suppository of truth. So go ahead.
Well, some years ago, as you know, we had the Civic Center built with the parking ramp, etc. And it was supposed to be for the new conventions and so on and things to bring people into downtown Eau Claire and also with revenue. But I'm just afraid that the same thing is going to happen this time as happened then. And that is that the city is going to put too many restrictions on having an arena, if we do have one. That is, who, what, where, and when. The last time I went to a city council meeting, I got thrown out because I said that we should be able to have concerts and whatnot the same as lacrosse does. Well, the city council didn't agree with me at all, and they thought that having concerts, especially rock and roll concerts, going to bring in an unsavory element into Eau Claire, and therefore they were going to put that restriction on. And I was just wondering if anybody else has any comments on how they feel about regenerating downtown Eau Claire, which has been dead for 15 years as far as I'm concerned.
Did you say you were literally thrown out of the building, or were you asked for it?
I was asked by the Sergeant of Arms to leave because I was out of order.
Huh. Why were you out of order?
Because I was asking a question that nobody could answer.
Oh, well, that's a good reason for getting rid of somebody.
Here's another one I'll throw out at you just for the fun of it. Also, some years ago, we were told in Eau Claire that we were going to get a new wastewater treatment plant because DNR said we had to have one. So therefore, we were going to pay a sewer tax. This is another time I got thrown out of a meeting. I asked one time how much was in the wastewater treatment fund collected from sewer tax.
Uh-huh.
And I was told, number one, that there was no such fund. And when I said there was supposed to be one, I again got thrown out of the meeting because I was out of order.
So, there might be a secret sewer fund floating around?
I don't know, but I thought that's what the money was for. It was for rehabilitating or rebuilding or building a new wastewater treatment plant for Eau Claire, which the DNR said we had to have.
Fred, do you think there's any kind of sewer slush fund in town?
Well, I don't know for sure, but it would seem to me that perhaps there should be.
Well, I don't think it was spent on the sewer, because you can definitely on certain days smell it.
Well, I realize that there. And since you live down there by the honey plant.
Oh, is that what you call it? For the younger people in the audience, we need an interpretation of what the honey plant is, Fred.
That's the sewage disposal plant.
Okay. Well, what do you think about that downtown arena there, Fred?
Well, as I have said before, I'm not one who favors the downtown arena. First of all, can you figure out if you had 10,000 people there, and even if there was only 3,000 or 4,000 cars, first of all, where would they put them? Second of all, what a traffic jam you would have leaving after an event that they had. And if they were going to have an arena, they need plenty of parking. It has to be where it is, and I would suggest instead of the city building or spending any money on it, let some entrepreneur come along, and since it's going to be such a money maker, let him build it and let him run it at his expense. Not that the citizens, the taxpayers here, be required to make up the deficits which these places like down in La Crosse run up.
Well, I know we differ on that issue, Fred.
Yes.
Because some people say you're very tight with money.
Say
I don't know whether I agree with that or not.
That's a lovely, what is that, a bedspread or a sheet or a tablecloth that you got
Fred?
on there?
This is in memory of Nelson Boom Boom Mandela
It is.
in the upcoming elections in South Africa. And, of course, each one of these bullets is autographed by Nelson Boom Boom Mandela.
Yeah, it is, huh?
Each one of them has a little hammer and sickle on them.
Well,
Get those down at the local Army surplus stores, Fred. They're sweeping the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I had the first one in the nation, and now it's a national craze.
Yes.
And it ties right in with the upcoming elections in Africa, where there could be a little bit of bloodshed, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a divergence of opinions there, Fred. And it's all coming to a head here in a few weeks. In
Yes.
national elections in South
And
Africa.
God help South Africa.
And hopefully the United Nations will keep their nose out of it.
Yes,
And
but
you, as a past commander, you ought to know.
yeah, and where they've gone in, like they did go in the Congo, they destroyed a sovereign country, Katanga, and brought it under the control of the left-wing communists in the Congo.
Yeah, that is a black eye on the United Nations.
And they also put out of business the copper mines and whatnot there, which were used to provide employment for the people who live there.
Okay, Fred, do you remember the second part of that gentleman's questions? Because we got to take another call. We got people backed up
No.
here.
About
About the sewer tax.
Oh, the sewer tax. I don't know where it, if there is, that's where it's going.
Okay. Well,
I
hopefully-
remember hearing on public radio some time ago where some man, I don't know if he's from Chicago or he's from Washington, who was telling a number of people here listening to him in Eau Claire, they had to have a sewer tax and they got to raise it and so forth and so on, and apparently they listened to him because they've been raising it ever since.
Okay, caller, you're on line 2. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was watching your cooking show there a couple of weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
You were making that orange newspaper pie.
Yes.
But
Whoops, we got a little feedback there.
I couldn't find any newspapers. But I found this napkin. It had a drawing like of an arena on it.
Yeah?
So I used that instead of the newspaper, but it turned into lemon pie.
Huh.
I was wondering if
Well, it probably was a lemon.
if what Fred would think about that. Do you think his buddy there that drew that? Do you think he might want to try a piece of that, or?
Well, Fred, you know, Fred knows a lot of things about a lot of subjects, and whenever I'm stumped because of Fred's knowledge in very many areas, I turn to Mr. Stafford. So
Yeah.
in this case, Fred, I'm going to revert to
You're
you
going to revert to me, huh?
because this is the suppository of truth.
I'm telling you, I can't figure out how that turned into lemon pie.
I know. Well, we have done.
Are you sure you gave the recipe carefully so they would put in the right ingredients?
I gave it in 3 languages, Fred.
Yeah, I know. That's what probably confused people.
That's probably why somebody used lemons instead of oranges. But anyway,
Yes.
I consider that there is a need for an arena. If it's paid for, if it pays for itself, Fred, and with that many students in town and over 50,000 people living in Eau Claire and 100,000 people in the metropolitan area, Fred, this is a regional shopping area. Stands to reason that outside of the cities, this is it to the east until you get to Wausau. So why not take advantage of it? Make it a tourist area. Bring people in with money. Let them spend their money here. This kind of crowd's just going to spend their money and leave town, Fred. That's the kind you want.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want them hanging around and drawing unemployment stuff. You want them to come into town, blow 20, 30 bucks, and then leave. What do you think about that?
Well, it sounds good there.
So, somebody out there needs to think of a way for the financing so that can pay for itself. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hi there.
Hello.
Got a two-part question.
right.
One, maybe the first part, maybe somebody could reflect on the Republican caucus yesterday from a good conservative point of view. And then the second part, has there ever been an arena in a city the size of Eau Claire that's been able to pay for itself? I don't think so, but maybe you could enlighten us a little bit. The city of Spooner went through a near financial disaster trying to scrape up money to cover theirs. They tried to sell it to the local tribe that was going to turn it into a casino. Most of the time that those arenas are a burden on the taxpayer.
You're so true. Well, thank you for calling. Well, Fred,
Yes.
I'll handle the part about the arena. You can handle the Republican caucus. Okay. First of all, Fred and Spooner, they probably soaked all them businesses up there, put the thing up in the beginning. Spooner, they roll up the sidewalks up there after the tourists leave.
Well, they don't have any sidewalks, only downtown.
They got a few, but that thing is a ghost town in the wintertime.
Oh, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
I've been up there in winter. I've been up there in the summer.
So,
I like the town of Spooner.
Spooner was way out of their league building an arena. Now, getting back to Eau Claire. You look at that little shack that they built downtown out of bricks, and they call that an arena. The people that put that up were not thinking big to begin with. They were thinking small, and that's what they got. A small building that you can't really do anything with, Fred.
Uh-huh.
It's not big enough to bring in any real national acts or national groups. It's big for regional or local groups, all right. But you got to get on several different floors to get anything done there. You got to put stuff in the basement, on the other floors, and you got to partition this off and that off. The thing was never built for a city this size to bring in anything of major importance. You sure couldn't hold any big national or of national importance, anything political, Fred, or anything of that nature.
Yes.
So, think big, Eau Claire. If you're going to build an arena, build a big one. Build a cow palace. Something big, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
Just like when they built Oakwood Mall out there. They thought that was going to fall flat on its face. Now it's a regional shopping center for the northwestern part of the state. Now, we're going to refer to Fred Stafford for the Republican caucus that took place because one of the callers wanted to know. And Fred, you are a member of the executive committee of the party, of the Republican Party in Eau Claire. And so, in your humble opinion, what did you think about the Republican caucus that was held yesterday in the local arena?
Well, I thought it started off on a positive note when Dave Zine spoke, and it was followed by Robert Welch, who is a state representative from Red Granite, Wisconsin. He's running for the Republican nomination for U.S. Senator. Now, after that, it seemed that a smaller group of people who were amusing at times, you sit back and you think about what went on, and they were really blowing a lot of smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't much fire there, but it certainly seemed that way. And it's sad to see that they were such sad losers. They were outvoted. And what the actual what shall we say, they should have been discussed is whether we believe in moral absolutes or not. And some of them apparently were mad because there have been literature that has been sent out which publicized the record that our Congressman Steve Gunderson had. And I say publicize the record where he misquoted the Bible. And
Fred, let's talk about the caucus now.
well, this should have come out so the people would have known what it was all about.
That's not what the caucus
yeah.
is for. The guy asked a question about the caucus, so let's discuss the caucus. We've discussed this other
All right,
stuff.
I'll let you take over then. You discuss it.
Well, I referred to you on the caucus, so let's talk about it.
I did. I just was starting to talk about it, and you don't want to hear my view of it.
Well, we have a booklet here about an inch thick from the caucus.
Yes, well, you got it there. Use it.
I thought it was interesting that the caucus, they get so bogged down, Fred. They start at, it's advertised that it starts at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday, which irks a lot of people to begin with. And they try and get it all squeezed into about 2 hours. Well, around 5:15, 5:30, people start leaving because they want to eat supper, and they want to go to church on Sunday night. They want to go home and watch 60 Minutes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always been a bad time to have it. So they get about 40% into the thing, and then they have to shut it off because it's 6:45, and the food's been sitting there getting cold since 6:15 because they have a dinner. Usually at the end of the caucus, they have a dinner with a speaker coming in. So that's exactly what happened last night. They never got through half the business. So now we have all these, what they call resolutions, that didn't even get brought up on AIDS and crime, and funding of education, and educational norms, English as an official language, and education outcome-based education, and the environment, and a fairness doctrine, and foreign policy review, and just reams of stuff here, Fred, that didn't even get discussed. So that stuff is all shelved now, tabled. It was not approved or disproved or agreed to. It's null and void.
Well, Mr. Ellickson was on TV and radio, and he has said that they need 15 members to call a caucus, and they'll take these things up again, or
Well,
take it up, period.
Okay, Fred, we have a caller on this line here, I think. So go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, I think we should have an arena.
Uh-huh. Where do you think we ought to have it?
In the downtown area.
Why downtown?
Well, it'll attract more people down there.
Uh-huh. Do you have any idea where they could put it? At the old downtown or across the river by the courthouse? Or do you have an idea where you'd like to see it?
No, not really anywhere.
Uh-huh. Anywhere downtown?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, thank you for your view.
Yeah, and I like your bathrobe, your ladies' bathrobe.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's really cool.
Actually, it's called a dashiki.
It looks like curtains to me.
It's actually a dashiki. You want me to stand up and model it a little bit, Fred? See, it's... Yeah. That's called a dashiki. It's very popular in South Africa right now.
Yeah,
All the white people are wearing them. They're trying to blend in.
right.
Okay. Now, we had a caller waiting on line 1, so we better get back to the phones, Fred.
All right.
And then we'll deal with that issue you had there. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, I would like to direct this call towards Fred.
All right.
All right, Fred? Yes,
Yeah.
This is Ross Kleiner from the Ross Boss Band. And I would think that I'd have to beg to differ with you. Because the Ross Boss Band would like to have an arena down here because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles drank their DPX in the sewer where it's heard more. If you have an arena, this will amplify the sound. So I think you should get better Coke bottle glasses. They'll make us see better so you can see the light of GPX and T-Door. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right. I think you should go to hell, motherfucker.
Well, Fred, you heard it right here.
Yes.
Now, you got the part there about the arena, though, didn't you?
Yes, I got the part about the arena.
From what he was saying, I think he wants it, he'd like to see it up on the cliff somewhere instead of down in the downtown area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Fred. What did you have there as far as a nugget of truth there?
Well, I got this new Russian wild man that we have, Zhirinovsky. He promised to bring Russia's reported military conversion program to a grinding halt, increase the sale of Russian arms to finance consumer imports, repudiate debts run up by the former Soviet Union, and terminate payments on Russia's foreign debts, form an alliance with Germany that would expand beyond the borders, of both nations at the expense of Central and Eastern European countries, unite all former Soviet republics into a new Russian Federation. Rather interesting.
So in layman's terms, what exactly does that mean?
Well, it sounds like we have another Hitler or another Stalin.
Uh-huh. And he's not in a position of power per se. He's not in Yeltsin's shoes yet, but
No,
that's what he's shooting for, right?
correct.
And he wants to take over. It's ironic, Fred, that he's talking all that stuff about hating Jews and stuff when he's half Jewish himself.
Yeah, and it said, this is from the Final March South, his autobiography, published in September of last year. He bluntly declared, quote, "When I come to power, there will be a dictatorship," unquote. He also explained that while he, quote, "may have to shoot 100,000 people, the other 300 million will live peacefully." Real peaceful, peace-loving guy.
All right, Fred. Well, I think we had a caller waiting on line 2, and we'll try and clear that up. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, this is Chuck.
Yes.
Yeah, Chuck, I was wondering why you wear those cool bullets around your neck.
This is
Jason.
Jason. You know, Jason. This here is the Nelson Boom Boom Mandela Memorial Bullet Belt.
Really?
And comes right out of South Africa. They're real important over there right now, real popular. And it's starting to sweep this country, too, especially in the inner cities. A lot of these are available. And each one of them is autographed. There's a hammer and sickle on each one, and they're autographed by, it says, "To you from Nelson Boom Boom Mandela." And that's what that's for.
Do you consider yourself African or something?
Yes, I'm part of the white tribe, the lost tribe of Africa.
Where about is that in Africa?
Well, see, the problem is it's lost, so we don't know where it's at.
Oh, I see.
We're studying it, and we're looking for it, but we haven't found it yet.
Oh, so you're trying to trace your ancestry?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Uh-huh. And that's why we deal with many subjects on the program, because right here, this is the suppository of truth on this program. And that's why you can ask Fred and I anything, because we know the answers. So do you have another question?
Well, can I say hi to my mom?
You just did. Okay. Fred, we've had somebody waiting on line 1 there for quite a while. And,
Yes.
So we want to get to that. The caller is there. But first, I just wanted to, did we ever mention the 20 worst violators of human rights and liberties in the world, Fred?
I don't think you did yet.
Well, maybe we tried to a little bit, but the number one violator of human rights and liberties in the world, according to Freedom House, a New York-based human rights group, is a country called Myanmar, which is formerly Burma.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the countries over there change their name every few years. But number 2, Fred, is your friend and former nemesis who came to your hometown many years ago begging for money for a revolution, Fidel Castro's Cuba.
Uh-huh.
That's one of the last bastions of socialist utopia, Fred.
Yeah, and I was living in the New York area at the time he came, too.
Number 2 worst
Khrushchev
violator
came
of
there, too.
human rights in the world. Number 2 is Cuba. Number 1 is Burma. So go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, how you fellas doing?
Just fine.
I got a statement here for you. I was wondering what you think of the stuff over there in the Olympics. You know, the Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan thing. Fred, give me your opinion on that kind of stuff.
Well, I think it's sad what happened to the Kerrigan girl, and I wish her the best of luck. I'm not quite sure as to how or why she was attacked, but in time it'll come out, I suppose, that when that case goes to court.
Yeah, how about you, Chuck?
Okay, well, I'll tell you. The whole thing is a hoax from the beginning. Why? because nobody watches that junk to begin with.
Well, I watch it. I'm a big fan of it.
Well, you're one out of maybe 10 million that does.
Yeah, whatever.
I watch
Anyway,
it too there, Chuck.
it's a very poorly watched event, the Winter Olympics. And so to create all this fanfare and excitement, they created this drama between Tanya and Nancy. And of course, both of them are getting filthy rich off of it with books and movies and commercials and just all the hype, the thousands of cameras and the flashing lights.
Yeah, but you think that was right for that girl to attack that other girl? I mean, is that good sportsmanship?
Well, in a conspiracy, it's all part of the deal. I mean, if they really wanted to hurt her, they'd take out a shotgun and blow off her kneecap.
Yeah, if it was up to you, would you let the girl skate?
Well, they're both going to skate. That's part of the hype. Now the whole thing is who's going to win. The problem is there's a few other people that are probably twice as good as either one of them. They're both average skaters. They're nothing great. They're not even favored.
Yeah.
But to bring the drama in, bring the Americans in there and all the drama and build this thing up week after week, go find some dummies. Those dummies couldn't even write their own names that were involved in the thing.
Yeah, he was a pretty grease-looking monkey guy, if you ask me.
Yeah, and he's still wearing those pouches from 3 years ago.
Yeah, I bet you he's a drug dealer or something, you know.
But the whole thing's a hoax. It's just to create hype. It's generated millions and millions of dollars of revenue for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering where I could get one of those cool mugs you got there.
These here?
Yeah.
Well, actually, this mug was created in 1988, and it was given to me by one of the legends of the Republican Party, Gordy Sill. And if you can get a close-up on it, it shows there.
Oh, yeah, that's neat.
See, it says COWS, so it ties right in with the program.
Yeah.
Cows,
Christians of Wisconsin.
or the Coalition of Wisconsin,
Yeah.
whatever. But anyway, it ties in with the cow motif, and with there's a close-up of the pus inhibitors that we sell here in the program.
Those are great.
I know, you can use those with any milk product, anything that has milk in it,
Yeah, well, I bet there's some other...
even ice cream.
Yeah, I bet there's some other... There's probably some other callers, so I'm going to let you fellas go on.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for...
And whatever.
Okay. Well, Fred, of course, we want to mention that this program is brought to you by Flavin Pop. I haven't sang the jingle yet tonight.
Don't.
Flavin Pop, Flavin Pop.
Flavin slop, Flavin slop.
Don't drink slop, drink Flavin Pop. The
Slop,
thinking
slop,
man,
slop.
the thinking man's drink.
And you won't, after you drink that, you won't think.
Well, Fred, you don't even know what the ingredients are. Here you're always running
Well,
around.
I know.
This has been the flagship of this
And
program for
I
years.
just look and see what it's done to you.
For years, it's been the flagship of the program. Okay. Now, we got many people waiting on the phone, Fred, and I know you got some more things to discuss here, but let's try and clear up a backlog of some of these calls.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, I watch the Olympics, and all of us here in our house too. I just like to say I don't think it's a bunch of fanfare, and I kind of enjoy the competitiveness that goes on and everything down there. But that's not what I'm calling in about, okay? You guys said you could answer any question, right?
Well, we try to here on the Suppository of Truth.
Okay, well, what I want to know is how can a city of Eau Claire that was built on a strong industrial workplace that was mainly a blue-collar city go from that standpoint to pretty much a retail marketplace now, and you have no more of this industrialization?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because I do have the answer. Thank you very much. Well, Fred,
Yes.
because of the transition and the transportation of jobs first to the Far East, and even before that into Germany, in Europe after World War II,
Mm-hmm.
that's where it all started. The transfer of American jobs overseas
Well, the
started.
taxes had a lot to do with it, too. The taxes went up and the businesses left.
The transfer of our industrial base, which is the backbone of any nation, was totally transferred overseas. And now, most recently, it's being transferred into Mexico. We lost our industrial base in this country. So what do you have to do? You have to switch to goods and you have to switch from building goods to servicing those goods that are coming in overseas, and so you're in a more of a service type economy now, Fred. And of course, Eau Claire has went with the flow because thanks to big companies, foreign companies buying up things like Uniroyal and gutting them, taking the machinery and selling it off overseas, and
went to China, incidentally.
Everything else, and pretty much gutting it out. You're just left with a big old shell of a building there with not much to do for it. So, the wise fathers and mothers of this city, Fred, looked down the portholes of time and decided to turn this into a regional shopping center.
Well, it's also, I think, they didn't want business, especially manufacturing businesses, to come in.
But
I've
Fred,
heard that from a number of people.
I know people say that, but this is a trend in the whole United States, Fred. It's not just in Eau Claire. It's been a trend away from industrial to this other stuff. So that the other countries are doing the dirty work, building the cars, they're shipped over here, and then we build the tires and maybe build light bulbs and service the car that's built in another country. So we're losing that industrial base to cheaper labor in other countries. So that is why Eau Claire has switched from an industrial type economy to a more of a goods and services center, regional center, because we are kind of a hub of the northwestern part of Wisconsin. Between La Crosse and Superior, we're it. And to your east, you have Wausau. So this is it. This is the hub. This is the center, Fred. This is the center of our universe right here in Eau Claire. It has created jobs, but those jobs are not as well paying as the industrial type jobs that were here before that. And sad to say, Fred, but those days will never be back. All the factories that are left, it's all over.
Well, Ford put up a plant down in Mexico. It's going to produce 74,000 cars. Only 24,000 of them are going to stay in Mexico. The rest of them are going to come up here.
We argued, Fred, passionately to stop NAFTA. But the powers that would be said, no, we got to have this thing. It's part of the New World Order. It's getting late here, the end of the 20th century. We got to get this thing on board, get it going. So there you have it. People were willing to sell out our industrial base to cheaper labor overseas. Do you confer with that, Fred?
Well, it's true. And as Ross Perot said, for 40 miles up the river from Hong Kong, you got all kinds of plants going into China.
There's a boom town, but it ain't in this country. It's in other countries.
Taiwan, Malaysia.
Okay, we're going to go to caller on line 1. Go ahead, you're on.
With all of the collective and profound conservative wisdom that just flows from the screen as we watch your show, maybe between the two of you, we could get some insightful opinions as to the candidates that are running in '94 and give us some guidance.
In any particular race?
Oh, well, the local races and, especially at the state level.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Sure.
You know, it's amazing how people will call here for the truth, Fred.
Yes.
It just boggles your mind with the magic of television. I didn't want to say the word magic, but there is a certain aura about television, Fred, that transcends all other kinds of communication.
Well, yes.
Because your eyes...
And now you can tell them about the candidates.
Because when you grew up, Fred, it was radio. You had to imagine all those things, like alligators nipping at your heels and stuff like that.
You bet.
But on this studio with Chris and Cliff Economaki, we've had alligators right in the studio.
Well, thank God they aren't in here tonight.
I know. I made them close the gates before the show started. Everything's locked up nice and tight. Okay, Fred. Now this caller first, we can start with the governor on down. Tommy Thompson's going to be the next governor. As I heard one of the legends of the Eau Claire County Republican Party say, Tommy Thompson will be governor as long as he wants to be governor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we can forget about that race. Now, how about Cole's race, Fred? How do you see
Well,
that?
we have Robert Welsh running for that seat, at least for the Republican nomination, Kathy Zuski and Tom Fitzpatrick from La Crosse. It's interesting to note that all the legislators, the Republican legislators in Madison, both in the Assembly and in the Senate, have endorsed Robert Welsh. He's a man of accomplishment.
Yeah. Well, there's somebody else who's not even in the race yet. So we'll be announcing in a few days. There's going to be 4 people in the race.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Steve Gunderson's brother, Matt Gunderson.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out primary. 4 people running, Fred. Conceivably, 25.1% of the vote, and you're in. You don't have to
Right.
cater to one certain, or maybe you do, just certain. It's going to be interesting. But you look down, Fred, and you wonder, is Herb Cole willing to spend $10 million this time
Mm-hmm.
to keep that seat? He's got it to spend. He's one of the richest men in Congress. That's the question. If he's willing to spend it, you can't beat him. As far as close,
Some things you can't buy with money, though.
well, you can buy
You
election.
can buy an election here and there, but Senator Cole is known more or less as the do-nothing, nobody senator.
Well, that's been said, Fred. But he has money and he has people that vote for him. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hello, my name is Barry Camrath, and what is that shiny red thing around your neck?
Which part? This thing here?
Yeah,
That's part of my
Custom.
dashiki.
whatever.
And in the wintertime, you can use it as a muffler.
Is that so?
And you can also wrap it around your head like Yasser Arafat.
Yes, sir, Arafat.
Yasser Arafat.
Oh. What do you think about making beer legal to those that are 18, sir?
Making what legal?
Beer?
Beer?
Alcohol?
Making legal beer for 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We're going to let you off the air there so that we can answer the question, which is, what do we think about 18-year-olds drinking beer?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Fred, what I think is they ought to give them an option. Here's the option. You can either drink beer or you can have a driver's license. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. One or the other. Either use public transportation until you're 21, then you can drink the beer if you want, but you're not going to have both, because it's a proven statistic in this state that booze in 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds equals death. And since they've raised the drinking age back up to 21, all the studies show that the death rate and the accident rate and all other rates involved with that age group drinking has plummeted. And one of the former state representatives in this state, Jackie Lawn, stuck her neck out on that issue and lost because of it. But she was willing to say yes. Since that law has been changed, the death rate amongst you 18, 19, and 20-year-olds out there went down. So your lives were saved. There's people watching, some of you young people watching, your lives have been saved because of lowering the drinking age. So if you want it back to 18, give up the keys to your car.
In raising the drinking age.
Yeah, if you want it lowered to 18.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about that, Fred?
Well, I used to call on a lot of businesses when I was on the road, and I did call on a number of taverns. I noticed in some of those taverns that some people could not get enough beer because they seemed to be intent upon drinking the place dry with 10, 20, and more bottles empty in front of them. And I wondered how they could drink it.
You're so true, Fred. You're so true. Okay, we got a call on line 1, and as you can see up in the upper left-hand corner, the little dancing donkey was up there waiting patiently for that call. So go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, thank you. This is Zachary H., and I recently watched your last 9 o'clock show. I had it on tape. I was in Cancun at the time, so I couldn't watch it live.
Uh-huh.
And I thought I saw your pus inhibitors. Is that what you call them?
Yes.
Well, I found a very other useful thing you could use those for.
Uh-huh.
As I was watching the tape, I saw every once in a while Freddie will get a close up, and I saw a block of pussy substance on his right fork at that time.
Uh-huh.
And I thought you could use the pus inhibitor to wipe that shit off.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Well, Fred, through the magic of TV once again, we can make people do all kinds of things. And one of them is we have makeup and special effects and stuff. So that was just special effects. But we do have pus inhibitors for sale, only $19.95, right here on the program. Well, Fred, there's a new product.
Oh, no.
Coming out from the Flavin Company.
Oh, no.
And we're going to demonstrate that. It comes in this nice, neat plastic biodegradable plastic.
Is that right?
Fred, you know the terrible weather we've had. I'm going to have to remove my hat to show this new product. The terrible weather we've had, Fred. People are saying, how do I keep my head and ears warm in this type of weather? You know, it's 40 below, Fred.
Stay indoors.
So the Flavin Company came up with the answer. And it's these things you wrap around your ears, Fred.
Oh.
And you get these Band-Aids, or these rubber bands come with it.
Yes, they do.
And, you know, I've never tried these before, but there's a way of, you get them on your ear, Fred.
Yeah.
And there's some way you make them stay on there. There's one. And then you put one on the other ear. Now, I can feel it falling off now, Fred, because...
What, your ear is falling off? Take it off then.
But
we don't want you to lose your ear.
There. That one's on now, secure. And we'll get this other one on secure. But Fred, you know these things are solar panels.
They are.
And what they do is they keep your ears warm in the winter.
They do.
Especially when it's 40 below out there.
Well, I wouldn't want to wear them at 40 below, I'll tell you that.
What's unique about them is, Fred, you can put them on during the daytime, and then they store heat for the evening.
You know what you want to do there.
Now we'll leave that one off because we got to get the bonnet on, Fred.
You take your ears off when you go outside. You won't have to worry about them.
Now you wrap this part around your head.
Oh, you'll look cute in that.
And then you have this little rubber band that goes on there like that. And now the whole thing is solar panelized, Fred, so that once the heat is collected in there, Fred, it stays in there for up to 24 hours.
Yeah.
Now, these are only $19.95. The solar heat panels.
Yeah.
For your ears and your head, and you can buy these right here here on the program.
That's what you did with the aluminum foil that I gave you, huh?
Allow 16 weeks for delivery, Fred. Now we'll just let those heat up under the lights here because we're going to go outside and it is dipping back. It's a little cool again out there, so. These will work fine just a few minutes under the lights here in the next few minutes, and then these will be good again for about 24 hours. And I think you can even wear your hat. There. There you go. So now we're going to get back to the calls, Fred, but that is from the Flavin Company. It's their latest invention, just in time for the winter of 1994.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, this is Tim O'Reilly, and I would like to comment in downtown about the arena.
Uh-huh.
We should knock Fred's house down and put it there.
Well, the only problem is Fred doesn't live downtown.
Well, and you said you know everything. What are the names of the 7 dwarfs?
Okay, we'll refer that to Mr. Stafford. Because right now I'm molting.
Well,
Fred, this also doubles.
One of them was Dopey.
This also doubles as kind of a. You can kind of use it for a type of battery charger for your brain.
Yeah.
Of all the sun rays and stuff.
Well, then you ought to know the names of the other 6 dwarfs.
Well, I'm thinking. In the meantime, Fred, we'll take a call on line 1.
Oh,
Go ahead,
gosh.
caller, you're on the air.
Hey, good program, guys. You're doing a good job tonight. I'd like to ask Professor Stafford to give us a quick update on Steve Gunderson, and does he think Steve Gunderson's going to win this year around? Thanks.
Okay. Well, Fred, there's your chance to say whether we didn't get to that race. That
No.
is a race which encompasses the 3rd District of Western Wisconsin, which, by the way, is a large district, Fred. It runs all the way from Dubuque, Iowa, which is the border on the south or southwest. On the south is bordered Illinois.
Yes.
Runs it runs up a little ways past Rice Lake, and then from the west it goes from the Mississippi River all the way along the western side of the state east, all the way into Clark County in certain parts, and then it narrows in other parts. But it's the biggest congressional district in the state, I think. It's one of the biggest, 17 counties.
The one that Obie has is pretty large too.
So anyway, Fred, let's hurry up because we got several calls here.
I'm of the opinion, and after talking with quite a few people, that Steve Gunderson is going to have a hard time this time. Many people who voted for him in the past, in particular among the veterans, are not going to vote for him because of his support of the gay issue in Congress and acting as a spokesman for the homosexuals. And I think that's going to hurt him tremendously.
Okay. There you have it, caller. So we're going to take another call, Fred, because we have them backed up here. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
I think you're a fucking dork.
Fred, that guy had some colorful language. You know, isn't it amazing with people paying up to $3,000 in real estate taxes? That's the kind of education we're providing for the youth of this country. It's amazing what $3,000 will buy.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, I just like to compliment you guys on how hard you try to to give people plenty of views on politics. You try very hard, but Zachary says you fucking still suck.
Well, Fred, there's another educated idiot. Okay, go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, my name is Johnson, and I was wondering if you've seen this stuff. It's called mint snuff, and it's a substance for tobacco to help you, like, stop chewing. Have you heard about this?
Yes.
Can I get your opinion on it? Do you think it really helps? Or, I mean, does it work? Because I used to chew, and now I'm chewing this, and I just don't know if I can do it, guys.
Okay. I'll quickly answer that, then we're going to have to call her quits. It's part of this, that mint snuff is part of this Tanya Harding and that what's her name, Nancy Kerrigan? It's all part of that same conspiracy to sell mint snuff over at the Winter Olympics. It all ties in together, mint, cool, trying to get people to be more healthy. It's all part of that same conspiracy. A lot of people are making a lot of money, Fred, but the stuff is actually terrible tasting. But it just ties in with the Olympic flavor and just kind of the mood of the country right now, Fred. And it's that type of minty mood we're in. Okay, go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, I know what you can do. What else you can do with that pus, BGH pus thing?
Yeah.
You can round up your fat ass.
There, Fred, there's another one of those educated midgets. Okay. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
What did you think about the old Dream Team?
The who?
The old Dream Basketball.
Dream Team?
Yeah.
I think they were a dream. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
It was a good team.
Yeah. Do you have time for a quick question?
Yeah, it's got to make it real quick because we've got about 30 seconds left.
Oh, I suppose I can't get it in that kind of time.
Well, you can just throw it out there.
I was going to ask you about what you thought of the lift on the Vietnam trade embargo.
Okay. Fred, you're a former military man. You've been in many campaigns. What do you think about the Vietnam?
I think it's a great mistake, but then again, as some people do anything to make money, and some of the big companies in the world sell to both sides, so as long as they make money, they don't care who wins.
Uh-huh. Well, Fred, as you can see, there's no more calls. We are going to release the station now so that you can turn over and get the abbreviated Channel 13 news. But the final word is number 20 on the 20 worst violators of human rights in the world. Number 20 is Vietnam, Fred.
Yeah.
Still a lot of people being murdered over there. So we want to thank you for tuning in, and of course, my the solar panel on my head now is nice and toasty, Fred. We can go outside and wear that for the next 24 hours. Yeah. So we'll see you again right here next Monday at 2 p.m. on the Kyle Report. I want to thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you then. Thank you very much, and good evening.